From Grimm's Fairy Tales, The Dancing Shoes. A king once had 12 most beautiful daughters. They slept in 12 beds, all in a row, in one room. And when they went to bed, the king always went up and shut and locked the door. But for all this care that was taken of them, their shoes were every morning found to be quite worn through, as if they'd been danced in all night. And yet nobody could find out how it happened or where they could have been. Then the king made it known to all in the land that if anybody could find out where it was that the princesses danced in the night, that man should have the one he liked the best of all the whole 12 for a wife, and should be king after his death, but that whoever tried and could not, after 3 days and nights discover the truth, should be put to death. A king's son soon came. He was well lodged and fed, and in the evening was taken to the chamber next to the one where the princesses lay in their 12 beds. There he was to sit and watch where they went to dance, and in order that nothing might pass without his hearing it, the door of their chamber was left open. But the prince soon fell asleep, and when he woke in the morning, he found that all the princesses had all been dancing, for the soles of their shoes were full of holes. The same thing happened the second and the third nights. So the king had his head cut off without mercy. After him came many others, but they all had the same luck and lost their lives in the same way. Now it chanced that a poor soldier who had been wounded in battle and could fight no longer passed through this country. And as he was travelling through a wood, he met a little old woman who asked him where he was going. "I hardly know where I am going, or what I had better do," said the soldier, and added, for a joke, "but I think I should like very much to find out where it is those princesses dance, and then I might have a wife, and in time I might be a king." Well, said the old woman, nodding her head. "That is no very hard task. Only take care not to drink the wine that one of the princesses will bring to you in the evening. As soon as she leaves you, you must seem to fall fast asleep." Then she gave him a cloak and said, "As soon as you put that on, you will become invisible, and you will then be able to follow the princesses wherever they go without their being aware of it." When the soldier heard this, he thought he would try his luck in earnest. So he took courage, went to the king, and said he was willing to undertake the task. He was as well lodged as the others had been, and the king ordered fine royal robes to be given to him. And when the evening came, he was led to the outer chamber. Just as he was going to lie down, the eldest of the princesses brought him a cup of wine, for the soldier had tied a sponge under his chin and let it soak into that, taking care not to drink a drop. Then he laid himself down on the bed and in a little while began to snore very loud, as if he was fast asleep. When the 12 princesses heard this, they all laughed heartily, and the eldest said, "This fellow too might have done a wiser thing than lose his life in this way." Then they rose up, opened their cupboards and the chests and the boxes, and took out all their fine clothes and dressed themselves before the mirror, put on the 12 pairs of new shoes that the king had just brought them, and skipped about as if they were eager to begin dancing. But the youngest said, "I don't know how it is, but though you are all so happy, I feel very uneasy. I'm sure some mischance will befall us." "You simpleton," said the eldest, "you are always afraid. Have you forgotten how many kings' sons have already watched us in vain? As for this soldier, he had one eye shut already when he came in the room, and even if I had not given him his sleeping draught, he would have slept soundly through. When they were ready, they went and looked at the soldier, but he snored on and did not stir a hand or foot. So they thought they were quite safe, and the eldest went up to her own bed and clapped her hands, and the bed sank into the floor, and a trap door flew open. The soldier saw them going down through the trap door, one after the other, the eldest leading the way. And thinking he had no time to lose, he jumped up and put on the cloak which the old fairy had given him, and followed them. Halfway down the stairs he trod on the gown of the youngest, and she cried out, "All is not well! Someone took hold of my gown!" "You silly thing," said the eldest. "It is nothing but a nail on the wall." And down they all went, and they found themselves in a most delightful avenue of trees, and the leaves were all of silver and glittered and sparkled beautifully. The soldier wished to take away some token of the place, so he broke off a little branch, and there came a loud crack from the tree. Then the youngest said again, "I'm sure all is not right. Did you not hear that noise? That never happened before." But the eldest said, "It is only the princes. They are shouting for joy at our approach." They soon came to another grove of trees, where all the leaves were of gold, and afterwards to a third, where the leaves were all glittering diamonds. And the soldier broke a twig from each, and every time there came a loud noise that made the youngest sister shiver with fear. But the eldest still said it was the princes who were shouting for joy. So they went on till they came to a great lake, and at the side of the lake there lay 12 little boats, with a handsome prince in each, waiting for the princesses. One of the princesses went into each boat, and the soldier stepped into the same boat as the youngest. As they were rowing over the lake, the prince who was in the boat with the youngest princess and the soldier said, "I do not know how it is. Though I am rowing with all my might, we get on very slowly, and I am quite tired, and the boat seems very heavy today, especially at one end." "It is only the heat of the weather," said the princess. "I feel it very warm too." On the other side of the lake stood a fine illuminated castle, from which came merry music of drums and trumpets. There they all landed and went into the castle, and each prince danced with his princess, and the soldier, who was all the time invisible, danced with them too. And when any of the princesses had a cup of wine set by her, he drank it all up, so that when she put the cup to her lips, it was empty. At this, too, the youngest sister was sadly frightened, but the eldest always silenced her. They danced on till 3 o'clock in the morning. Then all their shoes were worn out, so they were forced to leave off. The princes rowed back over the lake, but this time the soldier sat himself in a boat by the eldest princess, and her prince, too, found it very hard work to row that night. On the other shore they all took leave, saying they would come again the next night. When they came to the stairs, the soldier ran on before the princesses and laid himself down as they came up slowly, panting for breath and very much tired. They heard him snoring in his bed, and they said, "Now all is quite safe." Then they undressed themselves, put away their fine clothes, pulled off their shoes, and went to bed to sleep. In the morning the soldier said nothing about what had happened, for he wished to see more of this sport. So he went again the second night, and everything happened just as before, the princesses dancing each time till their shoes were worn to pieces, and then going home tired. But the third night the soldier carried away one of the golden cups as a token of where he had been. On the morning of the 4th day he was ordered to appear before the king, so he took with him the 3 twigs and the golden cup. The 12 princesses stood listening behind the door to hear what he would say, laughing within themselves to think how cleverly they had taken him in, as well as all the rest that had watched them. Then the king asked him, "Where do my 12 daughters dance at night?" And the soldier said, "With 12 princes in a castle underground." So he told the king all that had happened and showed him the 3 twigs and the golden cup that he had brought with him. On this, the king called for the princesses and asked them whether what the soldier had said was true or not. And when they saw they were found out, and that it was of no use to deny what had happened, they all said it was true. Then the king asked the soldier which of them he would choose for a wife. And he said, I am not very young, so I think I'd better take the eldest. And they were married that very day, and the soldier was declared heir to the kingdom after the king, his father-in-law, should die. But as for the princes, they were awarded punishment for as many days as they had danced by night with the princesses.